right now, while you are watching this video, a silent and extremely dangerous geopolitical game is unfolding. In the Middle East, war has not officially begun. No formal declaration has been made, but the movement of military forces, the language of world leaders, and the sudden rise in tensions all point to something serious taking shape behind the scenes. For years, the confrontation between the United States and Iran has been one of the most complex and dangerous rivalries in modern geopolitics. It is not simply about two countries disagreeing with each other. It is a conflict that combines history, ideology, regional power struggles, nuclear fears, economic pressure, and the ambitions of multiple global powers. To understand why the world is once again watching this region with anxiety, we have to go back many decades and follow the long chain of events that led to the situation we see today. The relationship between the United States and Iran was not always hostile. In fact, during the middle of the 20th century, the two countries were close partners. Iran was ruled by Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, a monarch who maintained strong ties with Western countries and positioned Iran as a key ally of the United States in the Middle East. Washington viewed Iran as an important strategic partner that could counter Soviet influence during the Cold War. American companies invested in Iran. Western culture flowed into Iranian cities, and the Shah's government relied heavily on American military support and intelligence cooperation. At the time, few people could have imagined that this alliance would eventually transform into one of the most bitter rivalries in modern history. Everything changed in 1979 during the Iranian Revolution. Massive protests erupted across the country against the Shah's rule. Many Iranians believed the monarchy had become corrupt, authoritarian, and dependent on foreign powers. The revolution quickly grew into a powerful political movement led by Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini, a religious leader who opposed Western influence and called for the creation of an Islamic republic. When the Shah fled the country, the revolutionary movement seized power and established a new political system that fundamentally reshaped Iran's domestic and foreign policy. From that moment forward, Iran began to position itself as a force resisting American influence.
The northern sector is unstable. We must deploy now. Agreed, but the eastern flank exposed. Air support is ready. We can cover it. Good, proceed.
Stormed the U.S. Embassy in Tehran and took dozens of American diplomats hostage. The hostage crisis lasted for 144 days and shocked the world. For Americans, the images of blindfolded diplomats and angry crowds outside the embassy became a symbol of humiliation and outrage. For Iran's revolutionary leaders, the event represented defiance against what they saw as decades of foreign interference in their country. The crisis destroyed diplomatic relations between the two nations, and since that moment, official ties have never been fully restored. Over the following decades, the rivalry deepened through proxy conflicts, economic sanctions, and ideological confrontation. Iran began to expand its influence across the Middle East by supporting allied political movements and armed groups in countries such as Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, and Yemen. From Washington's perspective, these activities threatened regional stability and the security of U.S. allies. From Tehran's perspective, building alliances across the region was necessary to resist pressure from powerful adversaries. One of the most controversial issues in this rivalry has been Iran's nuclear program. Iranian officials insist that their nuclear activities are intended for peaceful purposes, such as energy production and scientific
Sell it all!
research.
The tech index is crashing!
However,
No, buy the dip! Oil futures are spiking! Are you crazy? Look at the charts!
Could eventually lead to the development of nuclear weapons. The possibility of a nuclear-armed Iran has been viewed as unacceptable by several major powers and by regional rivals such as Israel and Saudi Arabia. Because of these fears, the international community imposed severe economic sanctions on Iran, targeting its banking sector.
Sell it all! The tech index is crashing! No, buy the dip! Oil futures are spiking! Are you crazy? Look at the charts!
Profound economic consequences. Inflation has risen, the national currency has weakened, and access to global financial markets has become extremely limited. Yet, despite the economic pressure, Iran has continued to develop advanced missile technology and expand aspects of its nuclear infrastructure. Negotiations between Iran and world powers have come and gone.
The Nikkei is down 500 points. I'm seeing it. Sell the tech positions. Everyone hedge the portfolio now!
Mistrust. At the same time, the Middle East itself has been undergoing enormous changes. Conflicts in Syria, Iraq, and Yemen have reshaped regional alliances and created new areas of competition. Iran emerged from some of these conflicts with increased influence, particularly in Iraq and Syria, where Iranian-aligned forces played a role in fighting extremist groups and supporting local governments. For American strategists and their regional partners, this growing influence raised serious concerns. Meanwhile, another layer of complexity was added as global powers like Russia and China began strengthening their ties with Iran. Russia cooperated with Iran in Syria, where both countries supported the government of Bashar al-Assad during the Syrian civil war. China expanded economic partnerships with Tehran and explored long-term infrastructure investments as part of its global development strategy. These relationships created the impression that Iran was becoming part of a larger geopolitical bloc challenging Western influence. However, international partnerships are rarely simple alliances built purely on loyalty. They are usually based on strategic interests that can change quickly when circumstances evolve. Russia, for example, has its own priorities related to security in Eastern Europe and competition with NATO. China's strategic focus is largely centered on economic development and the balance of power in the Indo-Pacific region. While both countries cooperate with Iran, neither of them necessarily wants to become directly involved in a large military confrontation in the Middle East. Today, the region stands at another critical moment. Military deployments, diplomatic warnings, and intelligence reports suggest that multiple governments are preparing for scenarios that could range from limited military strikes to wider regional escalation. The United States maintains a significant military presence across the Middle East, including air bases, naval forces, and advanced surveillance capabilities. Iran, on the other hand, has invested heavily in asymmetric warfare, strategies designed to counter stronger, conventional militaries. These include ballistic missiles, drones, naval fast attack craft, and networks of allied groups across several countries. One of the most sensitive locations in this strategic puzzle is the Strait of Hormuz, a narrow passage of water connecting the Persian Gulf to the global ocean. A significant percentage of the world's oil exports pass through this corridor every day. Any disruption to shipping in this area could have immediate effects on global energy markets and the world economy. Because of this, military planners on all sides pay extremely close attention to developments in the strait. In recent years, incidents involving oil tankers, drones, and naval patrols have repeatedly raised tensions in the region. Even small encounters between ships or aircraft carry the risk of misunderstanding or miscalculation. History shows that wars sometimes begin not because leaders plan them from the start, but because escalating actions gradually push both sides into positions where backing down becomes politically difficult.